All right, folks, what's up? It is just after 8 o'clock on Tuesday, June the 2nd, 2020. We're in our daily analysis here. So I just kind of want to go over market yesterday. Honestly, we talked a little bit about our thought that the market was likely going to have to go up before it goes down in our weekly video. And so what we specifically talked about was the idea that we are, even though we're seeing crazy amount of outflows in our major ETFs, so we saw 2 point some billion dollars of outflows last week in the S&P 500. We saw somewhere between 1 and 2 billion in the Qs, about half a billion in the IWM, the small caps. What we're seeing though is pretty a pretty epitomized short squeeze here. And so if we get into the S&P 500, right, we see another bullish day. So we saw this little bit of a gap down. So we closed here on Friday, gap down, but then really strong day all day yesterday. And I mean, we're not even going to get into what we've done pre-market yet. But what I do want to do is let's just take a look at yesterday's price action. So we see the gap down, and man, had I been playing, calls or day trading the SPY here, I would have went short here, because we are under this 9 EMA the entire time, and then just all of a sudden we just go ballistic, right? We really just go ballistic. And so I think that it's really worth noting here just that we see a little bit of a retracement here, 10 to, I don't know, to 11, 15 or so. We see another really, I mean, just crazy amounts of buying pressure all the way to 2, and then we kind of end a little down, lower high there. But when we go here in the after hours, we see almost basically until 4 o'clock, and just crazy buying pressure. We see this down, we get down to 403, and then from 304, excuse me, there's that dyslexia. No, but when we come here right at about midnight all the way, you see crazy amounts of buying pressure over all our moving averages, and as we go into the kind of open, as I'm just looking at this, at some point we have to understand that is it likely the rug gets pulled? I don't know. I certainly think there's the possibility that it happens. But when we're seeing this kind of crazy buying pressure on very, very little volume, very, very little volume, right? So let's go to our 1 year daily. And I mean, when we look at this, I mean, like, what is this? Such little volume here. And we're up. I mean, I can't go back. I mean, is this the candle, the most recent volume? This looks like the candle on the 19th, right? Wow, look at that. So I think this is just pretty foreboding. Least amount of volume since the 19th. I mean, you can just go right there. And then that was the top. Right? So we'll see what happens. I'm certainly not saying that I'm calling a top. But I think that this entire thing is just worth noting, that we're seeing continued buying pressure on very, very little volume. So, we'll see what happens here today. But when we go through, I mean, let's just go to the Qs. Qs are gapping up nowhere near as much. Are we in the same kind of thing? Yep. So least amount of volume since the 19th. We see continued pressure. I mean, this is what, 4% move in the last couple of days. So pretty significant buying pressure above this 9 EMA. That's going to be the first level that, I mean, I'm really going to watch for, is this 9 EMA. If the 9 EMA breaks, then we'll have a different conversation. But until this 9 EMA breaks on these, I'm going to continue to just say that the trend's intact. That the trend is intact here. So watching this 9 EMA across all of our major securities. And so that's it. Let's go to our VIX. What's interesting is that the VIX isn't necessarily buying. I mean, we have a 0.5% up day in the VIX or in the SPY, and the VIX really doesn't move a whole lot. So just watching the VIX, kind of waiting and seeing what's gonna happen there. Some of the largest movers here have been things like Tesla. I mean, is it totally unreasonable? Probably not. We have this major SpaceX. We'll see what happens. This is not a topping candle at all. This right here is the topping candle. Not seeing a top. So I'm expecting potentially some level of follow through at some point. Decent volume here. And then we get into some of the other securities we trade a lot. Ford's gapping up here. Apple, Amazon, Facebook. Oh, I just put in Facebook. Facebook right here, right? Google. So we'll see what happens with these. With these positions. I'm really interested in just kind of watching what the market does today. We had one trade yesterday in just EEM, beginning to set up some positions for us. Gap up here, seeing a lot of gaps in EEM, but we're watching this gapping up again here, so gapping up to this area. We'll see what happens with these markets. As we're looking at the IV percentile here, really seeing not a ton, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 securities above our 30%, which is really where we want to be aggressive. So right now we're sizing back down a little bit on some of these that aren't as large, in order to just kind of make the things. Our short scanner, Zoom, Zynga Silver, Zscaler, Lulu, Sportsman Warehouse. So we're looking at some of those. Are long, nothing showing up on the long hourly watch list. Only have an EDZ show up, which is a EEM leveraged ETF. That's where we're really at today. So we're gonna watch. We don't necessarily want to talk through a ton here in the gap scanner. Not seeing a lot that interests us. So we'll just continue to kind of watch the market, see what happens. Another crazy day yesterday, going to another $2 gap up here. So we'll see what happens. We are getting challenged a little bit on this position. Now we're past where our credit is, so we're gonna have to look at whether or not we want to adjust our SPY position. So that's where we're at. If you have any questions, reach out to me at Ryan at Sell That Option. Otherwise, it was just one of those days where gapped up, gap held, or gap down strong. We're gapping up today. Going to see if the gap holds and see if we need to adjust any of our positions. So that's it. Let's have another great